Hi, this is Rob Yates, and this is the video for Homework 3 of Unit 2. Please remember to put your first and last name and what period that you have math on the top of the page. Alright, question 1 says, if y equals 1/2 x minus 4, what is the slope of the line? B is what is the y-intercept of the line, and C is graph the line and draw the slope triangle and label the y-intercept. Well, y equals mx plus b is the formula for a line. M is the slope. B is the y-intercept. Pick those numbers out of the formula they've given you, and you can answer A and B. Using those formula, you can graph the line. The y-intercept, again, is B. It's where the line crosses the y-axis. Number 2 says, without graphing, find the slope of each line described below and show your work. Now, the basic formula for determining the slope of a line from points is y2 minus y1 over, that's supposed to be a 2, x2 minus x1, and that equals the slope. So, using that formula and plugging in these points, this is x1, this is x2, this is y1, this is y2. I would get 5 minus 1 over 2 minus 4. 5 minus 1 is 4. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. So, m equals negative 2. B asks you essentially the same question. You just have to figure that the origin, of course, is the point 0, 0 for x1 and y1, and 10, 5 is x2 and y2. What is the difference between 0 and 5? And then what's the difference between 0 and 10? That is your change in y over your change in x. C says a vertical line, one that travels up and down, that means it goes straight up and down, that goes through the point 6, negative 5. So horizontal is left to right, vertical is up and down, and it goes through the point 6, negative 5. X is 6, y is negative 5. What is the slope of that line? And then a line that goes through the points 1, 6, and 10, 6. That means it's a left and right line which goes through y equals 6, a horizontal line. What is the slope of that line? Number 3. Mrs. Hofstede's class is studying a towel pattern, and the rule for the towel pattern is y equals 10x minus 18. Nick thinks that figure 12 of this pattern will have 108 tiles. Is he correct? Justify your answer. Well, to determine the answer to that, we would just go ahead and say y equals 10 times 12 minus 18. In PEMDAS, we have to do our multiplication first. 10 times 12 is 120 minus 18. What does that equal? Is it 108? If it is, Nick is correct. If he's not, what is it? Justify your answer. Okay, let's take a look at the back. On the back it says, based on the information given, how many tiles are being added each time. Pay attention to the scale of the graph. First pattern, figure 1 has 1 tile, figure 2 has 2 tiles, figure 3 has 3 tiles, figure 4 has 4 tiles. How many tiles are added each time? I don't think I need to tell you. Alright, the second pattern, it looks like the change in y between 90 and 135 is 45. Is that the same for 135 and 180? Is it also 45? If it is, that's your answer. In this third pattern, please pay attention to the fact that the y-axis goes up by 2. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. So x's are by 1, y's are by 2. How many tiles are added each time? The y starts out at 16, and by the time it's at figure 1, it's at 20. What is the difference between 16 and 20? Well, that's your answer for how many tiles are added each time. All right. For each tile pattern above, it says how many tiles are in figure 0. So you would just back down the number of tiles enough times to get to the figure 0 in each. And I believe figure 0 is actually given to you on the graph for pattern 3. And then write an equation for each pattern. You will have, since you have the number of tiles, the slope, and how many tiles are in figure 0 is the b, or the y-intercept, for each of these, and should be able to write an accurate equation. Three says evaluate the following expressions for g equals -1 and h equals -5. So we're just plugging in -1 for g and 5 for h in each one of these. So the first one will be something like -1 minus 5 over -1 squared plus 5. What does that equal? You have to figure that out. The cube root of -1 is -1 plus 5 to the third power. What is 5 to the third power? Or what is it added to -1? I think you get the idea. Here we've got the square root of 5 plus 31. That's 36. Minus the absolute power of -1 minus 5. -1 minus 5 is -6. What's the square root of 36? What's the absolute power of -6? And what happens when I subtract those two things? That is your answer. If you have any more questions, please see me or your math teacher. Remember, there are tutors in the library available every morning and every afternoon, before and after school. I hope that answers all your questions. I'll see you on the next video.